Paying for College, a guide for UNCG students and families. This video is about the free application for federal student aid. You will learn what the FAFSA is, why it is important, how and when to file it, and what to expect after you have submitted it. Submitting the free application for federal student aid, commonly known as the FAFSA, is a critical first step in identifying sources of money for college. Ultimately, a student's FAFSA information will influence aid at the federal, state, and college levels. It's very important that students submit the FAFSA and that they submit it on time. The FAFSA is a form that collects a student's comprehensive personal and financial information. The U.S. Department of Education administers the FAFSA and uses the information submitted to determine a student's eligibility for loans, Pell Grants, and work-study jobs, which pay students for work. FAFSA information also determines a student's expected family contribution, or EFC, which is the amount of money students and their families are expected to contribute to a college education. You can choose up to 10 schools initially to receive your FAFSA information, and you can add more later. Schools you have identified will receive your results electronically and use the EFC to determine where the student falls within a range of eligibility for need-based aid. Your home state will also receive your FAFSA information for consideration of some state aid. Let's review what you've just learned. The FAFSA collects personal information to determine federal financial aid and the amount of money your family is expected to contribute toward your education. You can share your FAFSA information with multiple colleges and universities. Colleges and universities will use the information to determine their own aid decisions. The FAFSA is time-sensitive, and it benefits you to apply early. Millions of students compete for financial aid, most of which is distributed on a first-come, first-served basis to eligible students. FAFSA applications for the upcoming academic year are accepted beginning October 1st. Students who submit their applications as close as possible to this date will get the best consideration for maximum assistance. UNCG's federal school code is 002976. This is the code you will enter on your FAFSA to have your information sent to UNCG. It is possible to submit the FAFSA on paper or by phone. Far more common, however, is the electronic method, accessible at fafsa.ed.gov. The U.S. Department of Education typically processes electronically submitted FAFSA information within 3 to 5 days and contacts the applicant with results, called a student aid report, through email. Students will also have access to useful comparison information about the schools they identified in their applications. There are several things you will want to keep in mind about the FAFSA. You do not need to wait to be admitted to a college or university before listing it on the FAFSA. Read the instructions before you fill out the FAFSA. This is important because errors and omissions delay processing and awarding. A new FAFSA is required for each year you want to be considered for financial aid. Finally, remember that it is free to submit your FAFSA. If you need assistance, call 1-800-433-3243. That's 1-800-4FED-AID. If you have questions surrounding the FAFSA, fafsa.ed.gov is an excellent resource for more information. The UNCG Financial Aid Office also welcomes students and parents to call or drop by at their convenience with any questions or concerns. Let's review what you've just learned. When it comes to your FAFSA, the earlier you submit, the better. You do not need to wait to be admitted to a college or university before listing it on the FAFSA. Submitting the FAFSA is free. UNCG wants you to succeed in your goal of earning a college degree. The UNCG Financial Aid Office website is a great resource, and our financial aid officers invite students and families at any stage of the college application and financial aid process to call or visit to learn more.